Spoilers ahead, you've been warned.
Alright, so this is the review for the very recent released Mortal Kombat reboot. It's on HBO Max as of 12 tonight, or last night, or this morning, wherever you want to put it. And it's also in theaters. As a huge Mortal Kombat fan, despite not playing the game since the early 2000s, I was going into this hoping and praying and thinking this was going to be really good because of the trailers. Now, the 90s movies was more watered down for kids, which I actually like that, and it's part of mine and a whole lot of people's childhood. Sequel sucked. Didn't get past the first 5 minutes of the opening of it. This was clearly supposed to be way more violent and gruesome, with gory fatalities like what we get in the video games. I have not played them, but I have seen people who have played them. And my generation and this generation is, I guess you say, sanitized because of these video games. Specifically, the number one is the Mortal Kombat, how gruesome and violent they are, and they keep going up how ridiculous they are. So, from the trailers, you figured they're going to be doing that with this. The trailer had so much hype behind it, so was this worth all the hype and excitement to it? Honestly, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion on this, and the reasons why. Now, if it sounds like I'm a little bit tired, it's because it's 3 in the morning, and I just watched this as soon as it came out on 12. So, it's not the best. My mannerism is not the best. But really not what I was hoping for, but still somewhat enjoyable. Kano was doing too much with the cheesy jokes to the point he was pretty getting on my nerves somewhat throughout the movie. And he was constantly doing that, and to the point where it's no longer that, but it was throughout the whole movie. In my opinion, the story was a little bit generic. Your typical run-of-the-mill type of thing. Not as gory as violent as I want it to be. That could be a good thing or a bad thing in my opinion, as long as the story's good and they have other stuff. However, the fatalities, in my opinion, were forced in there along with catchphrases from the video games and the movies just for nostalgia. That is definitely a disappointment for me. However, most of the CGI was okay. They could have done a better touch-up job in editing. It was pretty clear it was CGI, and I was noticing it throughout the whole film. But, with me, it's not necessarily a big deal. Out of all the things in here, that's not necessarily a big deal for me, because it was in the middle of okay. There was definitely some stuff in there that was realistic looking, but for like 90% of the time, it wasn't. The acting was good, even though not familiar with most of the actors and actresses. I haven't looked at who they were, but I don't recognize any of them. Kabal was cool. I recognize the voice somehow. He has most of the makeup and costume design was pretty cool. Sub-Zero was cool, but his costume I'm not really 100% sure on. But here's one of the biggest things for this film that I have an issue with. One of the two. Very disappointed about the lack of Scorpion screen time. Scorpion is my number one favorite next to Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero is my second. So, was not happy at all that there was very little screen time of him in here. There was a lot of Sub-Zero screen time, which was great. And how it ended, I wonder if I hope they're bringing them back into the second one, because I read that they're doing sequels to this. It's going to be a trilogy. The movie and game was called, and this is the second biggest problem here, but the number one is Scorpion. The movie and game is called Mortal Kombat, right? So we expect them to train a little and then go into a combat. I don't understand at all what was going through the writers' heads. This was not at all what it was, from what my understanding from the video games, of all the versions of them from all the years, and then even the original movies, what was supposed to go happen. Sang Shu, I believe his name is, the evil wizard guy, which, by the way, I wasn't necessarily a fan of him, but his whole thing here was to cheat. It was just the whole movie was him going out of his way to kill the fighters that are to challenge him and ruling the earth, and him and his boss, and he just went through the whole thing like that. That's what the whole thing was, and that's where it kind of gets into the generic to it. Yeah, I mean, that's just stupid to me. There was no tournament at all. There was this, they kind of acted like there was towards the end in the final fight scenes, but not really. There just wasn't. It was just bypassing the tournament the whole time. And not necessarily a fan of that. Now, I think it would have been fine if they had a lot more Scorpion in here, but they had a final fight scene, which I'll admit was pretty cool. It's what you got a taste of it in the trailer, but I think the trailer, and I've noticed online, HBO just constantly doing the hyping of this. It's not worth the hype, in my opinion. It definitely was. It's really hard to not crap over this, because it was somewhat enjoyable. I did like the characters somewhat, a lot more than others. I did love the costume and the acting and the whole fight scene with Scorpion. I did like Scorpion. I did like Sub-Zero. And again, Cabal looked pretty cool. But I think it felt flat. So this is what my honest rating of it is. Yeah. So by that rating, you can tell I'm very disappointed in this film. Would I say this movie sucked? No, but it's definitely going down there in expectations. I went into up here with high expectations. I was just constantly, like everyone else, wanting to watch this. Was waiting. My expectations was up here. Should have been down here. Because I really liked most of HBO's movies that they've been putting out. But it's a reboot, so that's one thing you should keep in mind. They tend to be bad, and it's also a video game, which for the most part I have to disagree, because I liked a lot of the video games like Resident Evil, Doom, and all that stuff, even though they're not canon with the video games. But this was definitely a on me. Yeah, I was not happy about it. It was all hyped to get some merch, like posters and stuff. Maybe I still will. Maybe I get some I don't know. I just was hoping it would psych me up, because this is a film that I've been waiting for so long. I've been waiting for a sequel to the or even a reboot. Either way, I would have been happy, and this is what we got, a reboot. So, but anyways, it's late in the morning, and I got to get to bed. Got to get everything going. So, I love you all, and give me your honest opinion in the comments. So, keep it respectful, and of my opinion, I'll keep yours respectful. So, respect your opinion. Skull.